Hi, my name is Zach Anderson, and today I will be going over Assignment 1 for Principles of Information Security and Assurance. And as you can see, I will be using a video, and I will more specifically be using the game Minecraft to represent the terms and topics in the video. Without further ado, let's begin. First, we need to define information security, and as the book defines it, information security is the protection of information and its critical elements, including the systems and hardware that use, store, and transmit information. As we can see, it's represented by this giant satellite dish here. There's a few other key terms in there, such as information security, including the broad areas of information security management, data security, and network security. Next, we need to go over some key information security concepts. So if we come right over here, we're going to see a few things that can be representative of these concepts. So first, we're going to talk about access, which is a subject or object's ability to use, manipulate, modify, or affect another subject or object. Authorized users have legal access to a system. So in this case, since I own the world, I do have access, legal access to this system. So we can see that represented by this door here. Now that brings us to our next term, which is going to be the asset, represented by these two diamond blocks. So an asset is the organizational resource that is being protected, and an asset can be a few different things: tangible, intangible, hardware, software, etc. In this case, it is a tangible hardware object. Next term we're going to define is attack. We can see that this attacker here, which could be representative of a virus in this case. And then we're going to see our other term, which is going to be our safeguard or countermeasure, represented by this guy right here, which can be seen as the antivirus. Now these next two terms kind of go hand in hand in this example, but exploit, which is a technique used to compromise a system, and exposure, a condition or state of being exposed. So in information security, exposure exists when a vulnerability is known to an attacker. In this case, this is the vulnerability known to this attacker, and we are having our safeguard protect it. Next term we're going to define is loss. So these chickens can be representative of different bits of data, and when they are lost in this lava pit of doom, then it is obviously destroyed and gone forever. So the business suffers a loss, or company, or whatever you're trying to protect. So next we're going to have our protection profile, and this is represented in a few different ways. One, we kind of have our gate, and we're surrounded by fencing to make sure that no one can just kind of waltz in. We have two additional antivirus systems, or physical people protecting our asset here. And then with protection profile, it's the entire set of controls and safeguards. So this can include policy, education, training, etc. So a lot of these policies, educations, trainings, planning, subordinate programs can all be represented by what is inside of this chest. And this is kind of our protocol chest where you can find a lot of different stuff. Next is going to be negating risk. So we see, for an example, a natural disaster can harm a business. So we put up this wall to try to mitigate whatever risk we can from this happening. Next, we have the subject or the objects of attack, and this can be a computer's hardware, software, different sorts of assets. So we see that in this case, the object of attack is going to be this exploit, but he could just immediately turn, or this virus could also be going after this to allow a physical entity in to steal this asset here. So it can be represented in a few different ways. Next, we're going to go over the threats. There's a few different things: threat agents, threat events, and threat source. Threat agent is the specific instance or a component of a threat. The event is an occurrence of an event caused by a threat agent. And then the source is a category of objects, people, or other entities. So while a lot of these can kind of get mixed up with each other, for an example, this threat agent could be these random wanderers coming around. These are physical people that they could be a threat to the company or whatever if they get in and start stealing data. An event could be a storm. So in this case, it's going to be this volcanic eruption with these little tornadoes, kind of a megastorm. And then a source is the category of objects, people, or other entities that represents the origin of danger. That kind of goes with agent, so we can say that's this volcano, we can say it's this these spawners, we can say that these people can be a threat source, stuff of that nature. And finally, we have the vulnerability, which is a potential weakness in an asset or its defensive control systems. So in this case, it's this super, not easy to access, but easy to know where it is exploit, along with if this antivirus gets destroyed, then there's a lot of planning and regulations and other sensitive data that can be accessed here. So these would be known as some of the vulnerabilities that we have. And for our final categories, we want to go over a few more definitions, a few more key terms. More specifically, these are going to be the components of an information system. And the components of an information system are as follows. So we can have people, in this case represented by these fellas here, people of a village, people of the world. We can have hardware, which we saw in our first example of this computer, a storage unit, or some sort of big hard drive type system. And then this physical satellite is also a piece of hardware, but they are also simultaneously running software. So it's kind of a 2-for-1 here. Networks is represented by the satellite because networks need connection to function. This hard drive system has a lot of different data in it. So data encompasses everything. You need data to do kind of all of it. And then finally, we're going to have procedures, which is best represented by this chest, and it has all the procedures and planning and stuff like that in here. So overall, those are going to be the components of an information system, and that is just kind of a brief run through of some of the main components, definitions, terms, and concepts of information security. Thank you.